I'm 100% with you. This is
it's not a matter of being with me. It's just, are you with no decision making of what is a rational statistical analysis?
Well, yeah, and then you start I started to justify. It's so improbable that it actually would happen to me.
They overdid it. They overreacted. They locked down too long. They locked down too hard. It wasn't necessary.
People think it's the mark of the beast. Yeah, bro. They're coming for these people's lives.
Ruslan.
So there's this whole controversy of died suddenly. And it goes back to an actual documentary. But now it's like any story of anyone that they could find goes and connects to this. And it's the new conspiracy theory. It's the new thing that we're all going to talk about. And I want to look at a clip right now of someone that I'm friendly with, of someone that I usually agree with.
Whoa.
Right? And someone I don't agree with at all on most things, though I appreciate what he says here. And then we're going to look at another clip from a doctor about this whole died suddenly controversy, which is just going everywhere. Patrick Bet-David is the owner, CEO of Valuetainment, the face of Valuetainment. I've been on Saucecast. And I love Patrick Bet-David having people on regularly that he disagrees with. So he had on Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they had a great exchange on all the bang bang stuff, right? Here, they get into the specifics and the particulars of this entire died suddenly debacle.
Well, you know, it was also a movie.
Yes, it
was
was
a whole
movie.
documentary. And if you go to the page, the diedsuddenly.com, you can drop your antidote. So it's like, who do you know that died? What was your relation to them? You can fill in how old were they? Which vaccine did they get? I didn't get better with my language.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
So let's jump in. Now, again, usually I'm rocking with my man Patrick.
PBD.
Here, I think Neil gives a very great argument. And I think it's also like the deeper issue of we don't do well with critically thinking, using deductive reasoning, understanding the difference between causation and correlation.
We'll get into it.
Let's play the video.
have you seen the documentary Died Suddenly? Have you looked at it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Well,
So it's an interesting one. It's on I don't know where it's at. You can find it
I'll go
somewhere
watch
online.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got 30 million views. I think it's worth watching. Actually, would be curious to know what you say about it once you watch it. The statistic then showed like 29 people, athletes in Europe died suddenly from heart failure, pre-taking the mRNA vaccine. Okay. Post-taking the mRNA vaccine last year, 1,500 people suddenly had heart failures in Europe and 2/3 died. That's documented.
So that sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
A handful of folks who are athletes, and now it's 1,500, and he said 2/3, so 1,000 people. So, right, that sounds horrifying.
Yep.
But listen to this.
It's a hypothetical,
incredible
right?
response.
Okay. You read statistics like that, then one has the right to say.
Well, just to be careful. Be careful how you speak information. So you are describing two events. Okay, you're describing events that had a temporal relationship. Okay, before you've established a causal relationship. Just be clear that's
100%. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is the following. Here's all I'm doing. If somebody all of a sudden starts having a breakout, okay,
A breakout of what?
meaning their skin starts breaking out. You're
Oh, I relate.
26 years old. You never had a breakout. All of a sudden you start breaking out. And the doctor says, listen, man, what have you been doing differently? Well, listen, for the first time in my life, 6 weeks ago, I started doing DECA. Why it implicates it, right? Okay. Hey, if somebody all of a sudden, is having a hard time sleeping at night, I'm having a very hard time. So let's watch your diet. Well, then they notice at 10:30 at night, you're having iced tea and, lemonade, and you add it with this. Well, listen, if we've been doing it for 6 weeks, that's why you're having a hard time. Just drop that. Don't drink that after 2 o'clock. I'm just making, saying, but all I'm saying is, what I want to know is I want to put everything on the table versus saying, no, there's one thing we can't put on the table, and that's the cause of the vaccine. There is no way there could be any negative impact because of vaccine. That's ludicrous.
No one has ever said that ever about any vaccine.
If you say that, then the question then becomes back for you to say, when COVID first got started, I invited so many doctors to come in to talk about COVID. And then I invited people from both sides. I want both sides. I invited people from both sides. You know which side would never come? The side that was for vaccine would never, ever come because they thought they were above the average person that they know and the rest of us are dumb.
Now, this was definitely an L from that community. This is true. I reached out to Francis Collins. I reached out to the lady who developed it, the black Christian lady that developed it. There's a bunch of Christians that participated in the development of tech. Reached out to all of them. Emailed the proper email this person here at this university. Did all of it. None of them would come on and have a conversation. I'm like, guys, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm on your side. My audience is anti this thing. Help us understand. Nobody will come on.
Yeah, I bet they'll get death threats, though.
I don't know if it's that dramatic.
Bro, Bro, it is that dramatic. People
Really?
people think it's the mark of the beast. Yeah, bro. They're coming for these people's lives.
That's an interesting point. Okay, I didn't.
They're
think
not
about it
willing
like
to
that.
come and sit down with scientists. I think that's arrogant. So to me, when I ask you scientific debate, I'm not telling you I'm a scientist. Hey, let me debate with you because I'm smarter than you. I'm not a scientist. I'm a business guy.
Let's do a hypothetical scenario. Hypothetics are, let's assume an actual cause and effect has been established in this case.
Sure.
Which it's not have to see the film to know. I
I'll send it
don't
to
know
you.
that it's
Yeah.
a cause and effect other than a coincidence in time relative to other things that people might have been doing. By the way, alcohol consumption went up during significantly. Okay.
The jab caused me to start drinking more.
That's alcohol consumption went up. I gained a bunch of weight. Gyms closed down.
Jab caused you to gain weight.
Right? Like,
The jab put business out of business.
Alcohol is implicated in heart disease. So
Depression, anxiety,
yeah,
people staying at home,
all of the
kids,
above. Opioids went up.
addicts, addiction.
Okay.
So those staying at home wasn't the best decision either.
What I'm saying is, if after the vaccine is available, more people die of heart failure over a time where alcohol consumption went up, as did depression.
That could be an option.
That's right. That's
a very good
That's all I'm saying here. But let's give it to you that the vaccine caused this. Let's just say that, okay?
Yeah.
And add it all up, and you got, what was it, 1,500 post-vaccine?
29 to 1,500.
Let's say 10,000 even. Let's just do that. Okay. All right. You can estimate how many deaths the vaccine saved during COVID. Okay, because you can look at the death numbers drop off as people got vaccinated. It's in the tens of millions. Again, you can make a decision. Do I not want to die from COVID at this rate that occurred in this world? Or do I not want to die from this complication from the vaccine itself, the heart failure? So make your decision. And so you'll say, I might be in that 1,500, so I'm not going to think. Then you get COVID, die from COVID, right? So you just make the decision.
You know what I would say to that? You know what I would say to that?
What would you say?
Here's what I would say to that. I would say, perfect. Let me take the risk. And thank you for giving it to me that way versus telling me it's one or the other, which is how it was
as you are
presented.
informed fully about what the risks are. But like I said, as a species, we're not very good at thinking statistically about it. We're just not. And when we want to, we believe we're going to be the exception. And look at the people betting on lotteries. You know, they think they're going to win.
But for me, like, you know,
I did a lottery once. I got like the $2 ticket, whatever. And I didn't know. I should have got the scratch off to at least win $10. Did the Mega Millions, whatever. And bro, I got this thing. I downloaded the app. I was like, what day does it draw? I was like, I bought it with the casualness of like, whatever. And then throughout the week, you just be driving, no music in the car, and it just hits you. You go like, what if I did win? What would I do? And then you go, oh man, there's a chance I can win. Just because it's so out there that I never do this, that this would be the time that I would win. And then they draw and you're like, you don't even have one single number that's exactly the same. And you're like, this is how they get people.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Because you'd be sitting on that joint for the whole week. And you're like, I could win.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's $2.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we don't have the probability to understand the numbers.
Well, yeah, and then I started to justify it's so improbable that it actually would happen to me. Like it's so improbable. It's so improbable that the one time I do it, I'm gonna win.
The moment they started saying you have to put on cigarettes, the risk of heart failure, cancer, this, that, and if you still want to smoke cigarettes, guess what? You got a risk if you smoke cigarettes. You may get lung cancer, right? Hey, if you eat this, if you do this, if you do that.
Yeah, we've denied your admission to the bar. There's a cost to that because it's a public health issue. And so, right, you are free to smoke the cigarette, but not in my establishment, by law.
Not in your establishment.
By law, correct.
No problem.
Right.
Totally fine.
But that's an example.
But
of
if you want to
public
smoke
health
cigarettes
contract.
outside,
Neil,
you can.
And you can live on the beach, that's fine.
Neil, let me ask you.
That's a great. That's
interesting,
That's
yeah.
a great clapback.
What business can you go smoke in? Like what business in the middle of the day can you start smoking cigarettes?
No business.
Just like in your
I
cubicle.
mean, if you're in Vegas, you could go to a
yeah, but I'm
casino.
saying like in your cubicle.
Right. Yeah, you can't do that.
And we're not like,
Yeah. Now, I will say
But
that
although
in California, in my opinion, they overdid it. They overreacted. They locked down too long. They locked down too hard. It wasn't necessary. And when you look at the numbers, they weren't too different per capita for Florida and in Texas. California and New York locked down real hard. But when you looked at all the numbers and the per capita rate, it wasn't that different deaths nor hospitalizations.
I don't think
The lockdowns were unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't think saying we're not anti-vax. I got the Johnson & Johnson, the least effective, one shot. You might die of a blood clot. That's the one I got.
I got J&J. My wife got J&J. I went and got the Moderna booster.
Oof.
And that was it.
And that's when you went woke?
And that's when I went woke.
And that's
I didn't have any side effects. And all my buddies who didn't get it got like deathly ill. And I actually know people who passed away. Know people my age who were healthy, not obese, who passed away. You know what I mean? So risk reward, right? Risk reward. You gotta, everything in life is a risk reward.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta calculate the risk. I thought, I'm a dad, I'm the sole provider. I'm not going to be out here playing games where I could be out for a month. Our friends were that were out for a month.
Yeah.
We had friends that were out for a month.
Toast.
You know what I mean? Because they were on this energy. They were anti da-da-da-da.
We
were out for a month.
We got the vid at the same exact time.
And what do?
We came in and worked, baby.
We worked.
But I'm more financial. I'm not like, but I understand what you're saying.
A lot of stats and finance.
I'm a baseball guy, so I like stats. I'm all about stats. I love baseball.
I care what your death rates are, what your vaccination rates are, what your hospitalization rates are. That would be an objective measure from state to state. What state are you most likely to die in from COVID? That's a statistic I would pay attention to. What state has the least hospital beds to accommodate those who are sick from COVID, even if they're not going to die from COVID? I would want to know that in the state.
Well, statistically, New York and California does not look good. Statistically, New York and California, and they're supposed to be the most responsible ones. Those two states didn't look good. All I'm saying is, from my end, in a space where I sit there and I listen to you and I learn, I say, oh my gosh, okay, I had no clue about that. That was brilliant. That's interesting. Let me go research. Let me go look at this. I'm a guy that likes debate of experts in two different sides, and let them make the argument. And I'm mature enough to know the better salesman doesn't necessarily have the better argument.
Good. But let me just say that there's nothing I've said in the last half hour that is a debating point. All I'm telling you, well, you can debate whether you should still be able to work and put other workers at risk. You can debate that.
Yeah.
In the context of public health, that's a risk factor that we don't want to introduce to other people because of your decisions. That's a public health issue. It's been going on basically for 100 and something years. So it's simply a matter of, if you're saying you don't want to be in the 2,000, whatever the number is, who died after the vaccine from heart failure at the peak of your physical career, not totally necessarily factoring in all the other abuses that went on over that time that may have contributed to it. Instead, you want to take the risk of COVID and not be one of the 20 million people who would have died and didn't, right? So I just want you to have the statistics in front of you. And it seems to me most people would, in most cases, choose the path that reduces their chance of death.
But by the way, I don't disagree.
That's why I'm not debating. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there.
But this
feels
part
like
of
I'm
what
not
you're
even
saying, I'm 100% with you. But this is
it's not a matter of being with me. It's just, are you with decision making of what is rational, statistical analysis?
But this position is not an arrogant position. This position is kind of like when you're sitting there and you tell the doctor, so doc, what do I do? Like, we have one of my good friends right now is getting a brain surgery in the next couple of weeks. She's afraid. Now, she believes in God, so faith is kind of calming her down, but she's afraid, okay? The doctor says, there's a 10% chance you're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. Do you want to, for the rest of your life, live having to take that medication with the side effects, or do you want to do the surgery? The individual is making a decision to get the surgery. She knows the chances is what? 10%. You know what I say to that? At least I know the risk. Versus, no, if you take this, you won't get anything. Propaganda, selling me this. Like, what's the three things that you say? There's three different types of truth, right? It's objective truth, personal truth,
and political truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one I have a problem with. And I agree with you.
Should we all?
And that's the part I have a problem with. I'm personal truth, let's debate, have fun with it. Great, let the audience.
Yeah. Personal truth.
Yeah.
You want to debate personal truth.
Exactly. That's cool.
Okay. Kirk or Picard,
yes.
Whatever.
The political truth, I think, is what brought a lot of division in households and companies, different places.
Of course
I think that's what happened the last 2.5 years, specifically with that. And you know this, like, you took it, you didn't take it, you're part of a political party. Like, you may be positioning me right
statistically,
now.
that was a correct statement.
Yeah, statistically it was.
There's something to mitigating risk. I don't think anybody should have been forced to do it.
Yes.
I think firing nurses and doctors who had already had the vid
Crazy.
was absolutely counterintuitive and nonsensical. However, I think this whole notion that all these people are dying now, right?
Yeah.
I think that I gotta hit you. I gotta hit you with
That's goofy.
I gotta hit you guys with it. That's goofy. Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. The perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.